I'm sure I've mentioned this in a couple of previous episodes that I work in marketing. And one of the tools that I like to use on a fairly regular basis is Google Trends. And just out of curiosity, I decided to do a comparison between Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker and Baby Yoda. Would you believe that Baby Yoda is trending 4 times more than The Rise of Skywalker? Now, as much as I want to say that, it's because Baby Yoda is so cute, I don't think it's because Baby Yoda is so cute. I think Baby Yoda is cute, don't get me wrong. But I also think that this is very indicative of the sentiment currently among filmgoers in respect to The Rise of Skywalker. And I think it says a lot that a singular character has been able to outtrend the 9th film in the greatest film saga of all time. Basically, the jewel in the crown of the Star Wars franchise is the films. And there's a television character, granted it's Baby Yoda, but there's a television character that's outtrending the most anticipated film of maybe all time. And that's kind of crazy to me. And I don't know whether that's because the fans feel let down, by the way that Disney has handled the sequel trilogy, or it's something else. I'm sure you guys have comments and thoughts of your own. Feel free to leave us your thoughts. Meanwhile_pod. Let us know what you think. And speaking of Baby Yoda, we've got that next episode of We Have Spoken coming right up. So stay tuned.
Meanwhile, back on the podcast, 4 colossal nerds named Saba, Chris, Christina, and Frank have set out to take on a great darkness that has enveloped the world of fandom. With their powers of common sense and the strength to take on even the most butthurt Twitter mobs and insufferable comment section trolls, they fight for truth, objectivity, and nuance in the conversation and debate over fictional made-up shit.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Meanwhile Back on the podcast. This is Chris.
This is Saba.
And Frank.
Today, it's Mandalorian, chapter 4.
Chapter 4 on We Have Spoken.
Chapter 4.
On We Have Spoken, yep.
So let's just get right into it. Initial thoughts, what did you guys think?
I love this episode a lot.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
My initial thought is a little broader, and that's because I've been such a fan of a lot of the other Star Wars canon, and I've seen this story happen like 3 other times in other Star Wars canon. So I'm a little tired of the I was like, seriously,
it is tropey.
Haven't we done this in every cowboy movie ever?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, my thought is Clone Wars did it better.
Clone Wars did no, actually I felt like this was better than the Clone Wars one.
Oh, no way. I'll prove that to you.
Are you talking about the rolling guys?
Are
you talking about when they're training the Mandalorians?
The Bounty Hunters episode. We'll talk about the Bounty Hunters episode because this is direct translation from that episode.
Sure.
Also, I was happy that we weren't on the same planet.
Yeah, I was happy we were on the same planet too. Because that was such a refreshing visual.
Yeah, it was.
Yes, without a doubt. It was a good visual experience to have for sure.
So in this episode, it's essentially their 7 Samurai, Magnificent Seven episode where it opens up in this farming village, and immediately I'm like, oh, are they doing fucking 7 Samurai? And then I immediately started comparing it to literally my favorite episode of all of Clone Wars. That's my favorite episode, called Bounty Hunters, which exactly the same plot. Which featured actually my favorite character in the Clone Wars series, Embo, if you remember.
I love Embo.
Embo's dope.
Embo is so dope, dude.
Yeah, so Embo was this character, just a small aside, this monk-ish character with a giant brimmed hat that like he uses as a Captain America shield, and he's got a crossbow sniper rifle. He's dope, and
he snowboards on it too.
Snowboards on it, yeah.
Very
And that dude has never
multifaceted.
lost a fight in Clone Wars yet, even when he was facing Anakin. Anyways, fun fact, like his race is called Kyuzo, which is the name of the best of the seven samurai in the original.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, in the
That's
original.
cool. That's fucking really cool.
So anyways, it opens on this planet, and then there's these farmers who are like farming these bluefish.
The
Those
krill.
are cool.
Is that what they're
Krill,
The
called?
krill, yeah.
Yeah, and these raiders, is like pirates, raiders,
Very-
bandits.
They're
Very
Klatooinian.
orcish. Very
They're called
Very
orcish-like,
orcish,
eh?
yeah.
And yeah, it's like that trope I will get. Yeah, that trope happens all the time.
Yeah.
Like raiders just come in and raid everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, they raid everything, and they like take everything and just dip. And then very quickly we open up to I think it was he was on his ship.
Well-
do you ever get a name of that ship?
We don't have a name of that ship yet, but the one thing
Oh,
I
okay.
want to talk about is like Omera.
Yeah.
The woman, she's like hides her and her daughter under
Yeah,
the little
and the daughter.
basket. And I was like, damn, I think
Yeah,
she's
we
gonna
see it through her
die.
perspective.
Yeah.
And then she like saves her daughter, goes into the water.
Oh, we
into
have the
this-
name of the ship.
What's the ship?
The
called?
Razor Crest.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh,
Yeah. You
is
didn't know
it?
that?
I don't know why I
No.
didn't like. That's the first thing I
Oh.
usually pick up on these things.
Yeah. But they're on that ship, yeah.
So it's through her perspective, and she rescues her daughter from these raiders, and then she kind of and you kind of get the sense that this is like their way of life. They're kind of just like these like seven samurai type like helpless villagers, these farmers, and then we cut to our main character Mando, who's on the ship, freshly rescued Baby Yoda from
Damn,
the
that Baby Yoda.
from the guild,
Pressing all those buttons.
pressing all those buttons.
I sent
So
these
cute.
guys like this you guys have probably maybe seen on Twitter where people have been putting music there instead.
Yeah.
So he presses and like a song starts. So
Yeah.
the one that was really funny was Get Low. Lil Jon. Like that was too funny. And then there's also like a Baby Shark one and like a Smash Mouth one.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very cute. Like they're very playing up the cute factor here with
Yeah.
like him doing that, and then Mando just like picks him up and is like,
Yeah.
he even has like a pet name for him or
Yeah.
something.
He's instant comic relief, right? Like
Yeah.
as long as you put him into a scene where he's doing something like sudden or funny, like you're gonna get an instant comic relief moment.
So this first scene already was my first glimpse of a different character for Mando. Like he, in my opinion, pulls a 180 because he was, for the first 3 episodes he was this very stoic, like man of few words, and now like
He's getting some humanity in him.
I get it. Like you want to do that for your character, but I felt like it was abrupt, and it was just like, oh, new episode, new character. He was talking to himself, which is like not something a stoic character does,
Yeah.
but like you can't really help it because he has to exposition
Yeah.
the
It's not
scene.
something. It's something like a dad does. Was he
Yeah.
becoming a dad? As Mando,
It was just
yeah.
like too abrupt for me.
Well,
And-
he was kind of talking a bit like in he's talking to Baby Yoda. Obviously, Baby Yoda isn't going to provide any feedback, right?
yeah.
But it like he's probably justifying talking to Baby Yoda. Plus, maybe we look at it this way: like he's been alone for so long. Maybe he's finally finding some comfort in some company too. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. It could
Yeah.
be. Well, he does. So he mentions like, yeah, this planet is Sorgon.
Yeah, and then like I don't know, it felt like an exposition, and also like, oh shit, we got to put some humanity in him. Like he wasn't talking to Baby Yoda; he was talking aloud.
Which
Right,
part? The
like-
part where they're talking about the
Well,
planet?
he was like, no one's gonna find us here in this planet. It's a backwater planet, whatever.
Yeah.
It wasn't like baby talking Yoda, right? Or Baby Yoda. Fuck.
No, but he's never baby talked Yoda either. He always calls him the kid.
Yeah.
I feel like even if like
Man, if Mando started baby talking,
That'd be weird.
damn.
yeah.
So,
like,
anyways, like, and it's not the last time it also happens in this episode. But anyways,
Right.
so he finds this planet, and then when he descends into this planet, like it cuts back to that woman. What's her name again? Saba?
Omera?
Omera. Yeah. It cuts back to her looking at the ship, and then he flies pretty far away from it, and then lands in this whatever civilization he can find. And before that, he explains that like this place is perfect because there's not a lot of like what do you call that, population density.
Yeah,
and
like
there's
it's
not a lot
thinly
of-
populated.
yeah,
like
thinly
there's not a
populated.
lot of people there.
Yeah.
It's like kind of the perfect place for them to hide.
Mhm. So he goes into the and then he goes into this like whatever passes for a tavern.
Yeah, like a tavern of sorts.
inn.
So I like how the woman does not understand the concept of bribes.
Yeah. They were just like these honest workers, and he was like paying them way too much, and they're like, oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, it was. So he goes into this. Oh wait, sorry.
That the last, so I have it.
Sorry.
Just make sure you record it the last bit, like when we do the cold open for it or whatever.
Okay,
yeah, just make sure you just chapter 4 sanctuary or whatever.
So he goes inside the tavern, and he kind of finds what he's looking for. Like nobody apart from this one woman is looking at him, and he's like, he's kind of safe here. And then so we get introduced to actually we'll talk about her in a little bit. So he sees this woman across the room, and immediately he knows she's a player. She's someone. She asks about him immediately. So he asks about her immediately. To the bartender, who's kind of just like,
okay, like,
yeah,
like I don't really know. Oh, thank you for extra money.
Yeah.
Like this is great.
Yeah, she was
great.
like, he was asking her. She was like, do you know where she's from? Do you know why she's here? Like trying to get some sort of backstory on her so we could figure out who the fuck she was.
Oh, also before that, he orders bone broth.
He did order bone broth,
which is good. He needs that. He's a growing boy.
Yeah,
I'm happy.
And she was bringing him a flagon. In the world of Star Wars, a flagon? Come on, man. Flagon's like fucking medieval shit.
The
man.
world of Star Wars is vast, and there's always room for
you,
and it happened in a galaxy a long, long, long time ago.
That's fair, but still.
But anyway, in the middle of this conversation, like the woman goes missing, right?
Goes MIA.
And so then she gives money again. And he's like, watch the kid. And then just like leaves. And he follows her down an alleyway, and they fight, and it's a very like
but first he fucking turns on his little visor, and he can see her heat fucking footprints and all that shit. That was dope as shit.
Yeah,
and I was like, that was cool.
And then the footprints abruptly stop. And then she fucking drops on him, and they start this really cool like, really reminding me of Mad Max fight scene. Mad Max versus Furiosa.
Yeah,
and I really like the fight scene. So we get introduced to this character.
But okay. About the fight scene.
Yeah.
She's fucking punching him right in the helmet.
I was just gonna mention this.
That would hurt.
So
of course it would. He's covered in armor.
No, it would hurt her, and it wouldn't hurt him. I don't understand like why he's like taking it. Like he's taking it like he's
it's like fused onto his face. Like that is
the same thing with Iron Man in a lot of ways. Like Iron Man goes, oh, like really, oh, like you take bullets, bro.
Like I guess because the thing is, it's very clear she's a very good fighter. She's very strong.
Very skilled.
So I was just gonna like talk about Cara Dune now. So this character, Cara Dune, what are our initial thoughts of her?
I like her a lot.
She's dope, man. Gina Carano. I love Gina Carano. I think she's great. I think she's being redeemed after her role in Deadpool. Her role in Deadpool was not that great, in my opinion. So I think there's an opportunity here. I love her backstory. She's a rebel shock trooper.
Got sick of the politics.
Sorry?
She like fought on Endor, but then left because she got sick of the politics.
Yeah, because she's a soldier at heart.
Yeah, but she's a soldier at heart.
I like that though, that they introduced the idea of the politics. It's like she said something about like people's sons being pardoned because of like the money that they have, and it's like how we kind of see the political world in like episode 1, 2, and 3, but like I kind of like this idea that these politics are still at play after like this rebellion.
And I kind of get the feeling that she's just bored of it too. Like she just wants to fight. So my initial thoughts on Cara is, first of all, like she was casted perfectly. Finally I see a woman character that like can beat up like Mando, and I'm like, I buy that. Like she looks like she can beat the shit out of him. She's like perfectly casted for it. I like her backstory a lot, and I like her look. Like her look is so dope. She has this like cool armor that she's like trying to be obscure about. Like she doesn't want to be she doesn't want to be like labeled as what she was, like shock trooper. And she did say shock trooper at first, and at first I thought it was like dope, a fucking like Empire trooper. That's what I thought, and I was really happy about it. Like obviously when they said like the rebel trooper, I'm like, okay, that's cool too.
I kind of like the reason I like the rebel one is because it's showing like the other side of the rebel alliance, like people leaving.
But we see that all the time. Like I want to see a reformed Empire trooper. That would be dope as fuck.
Yeah, but we saw that in the video game, and it wasn't all that great.
I actually thought it was her. I actually thought it was
really?
her. Well, I mean, like that's not our argument because we can say like let's do it right this time.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But like I actually thought it was her first. I had to look it up. I'm like, oh no, it's a different
Also,
girl.
we skipped my favorite line of the episode, which is when they're done fighting and Baby Yoda's just standing there like sipping the bun, which so many people have made memes out of that. It's like my mom Christmas morning. But my favorite line is Mando's like, "You want some soup?" Like that was like pretty much it.
That was pretty good.
So I will say though,
And he's gaining more humor. His comedic
He kind
timing.
of was funny a bit though. Like you could tell that he had a bit of humor.
I
but it was
don't want
more
him to get
sarcastic.
too funny, like because like he's
I don't think he's
losing
gonna
that
be like
mystique.
Jim
I felt like
Yeah.
his humor before this episode was kind of fell off to me. Like it was hard for me to like watch his humor. And like this soup thing was like cool, but it also it emphasized my initial thought about his 180 for his character, which was like it's a sucker punch. It was like it's too fast. Too fast, but it's like it's the direction they have to go to anyway. So like going back to Cara Dune, there is like a small criticism. Like I don't know, like I'm not 100% sold on her acting. Like I felt like she did a lot of things right, especially like fight scenes and especially like when she's like talking to like the group of people. But I felt like she was reading off a script. Like she was enunciating too much. She was finishing her sentences with like a way that no one really talks in a way. Like, and I think like her character's her character's
Did it
okay.
feel like too like modern day for you, like now time?
A little bit, yeah.
I got that vibe that it felt like it's 2019.
But it
vibe,
also
maybe?
like felt like she was reading off the script. Like her energy level was just a tad off, like a very small amount off, and it's like I can't really point to it without like she like just enunciates way too much at the end of her sentences. It felt like she's gonna be a really good actress, but she's not quite there yet.
Well, she's fairly inexperienced as an actress too, right? So,
But like I said, like I like her looks wise and her costume's amazing.
Yeah.
So after that, she pretty much gets into her backstory. I love that abrupt cut after like you want soup, and then it's like they're just talking about her now, and then she says, sorry.
Oh, they both think they were out to get each other.
Yeah. So she's like, I came at you so hard because you looked at me and then you chased me and you're wearing freaking Mandalorian armor.
yeah, and she's like, I thought you had a fob.
Yeah, I thought you had a fob, right? So she essentially says like, I'm doing the same thing you are. I'm hiding out here. Fuck off, right? I'm first, right?
I love how she claims the whole planet. Like
Yeah.
this is my planet.
Yeah, and then he's like, okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
he
I think
actually said to
things-
Baby Yoda, he's like, so we might have to leave, or he said something like that. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, sorry. 3. So yeah, he essentially like just gives up the planet and just goes, okay, yeah, two of us here might attract too much attention. So he starts to fly off, and then that's when the farmers kind of find him.
We've
and
seen them before, those actors.
Okay, so that
Yeah,
guy
I know who he
is from The Good Place.
Yeah.
So he's Jason Mendoza's best friend.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like laughing.
Yeah.
I'm like laughing because he's played such a serious role.
What's
And I
his name? Doughboy or something
Doughboy,
boy
yeah.
or something like
okay.
that?
I was like,
yeah.
I
Pillboy.
know you.
Pillboy.
Pillboy.
That's it. He's Pillboy. Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah. I love that.
That's a good show, guys. Like Jason Mendoza
So
is the
good.
best.
So good. Blake Bortles.
Bortles. So funny, man. So they essentially go to him and try to hire him Seven Samurai style with money.
Yep.
And this is where I kind of found it a little bit weird. So I've said it before, like this is a very shallow show, and the writing is weak at some points, and I think this show showed a lot more weak writing than the previous episodes.
Yep.
And we'll get into it. But this is one of the things about the motivations of Mando, where he's like, the money's not enough, right? And also I have to leave because that girl told me to leave. And then he says the word. They give up, and he says a throwaway word that's like a middle of nowhere. And then he's like, "Oh, middle of nowhere. That's what I was looking for." But like that felt like it felt wrong to me because it's like you weren't looking for it. You did find it, right? But then somebody told you to go away, and then you said yes.
It would be more believable to me if he did it out of like because he's been through something where his family was killed and
That's
everything
exactly
else.
what I was gonna say.
So that's like the humanity. That's why I think why he saved like the child is because it was that humanity. Like he knows how it's like to be abandoned. So that would be more like would make sense.
Yeah, that was my next point. It was that like,
But he does ask, do you have lodging too, right? Like he makes a very pointed question to find out if there's lodging, because that's really what he's looking for.
no,
right?
but that's my point. It's not like it's not enough because that's the
Right.
thing. Like he's already found his sanctuary, but he's made to go leave. And then these people telling him, "I have money for you," isn't enough. Neither is lodging enough because he's already like conceded the planet to.
I've got a theory about that. I think he was asking for money because he was going to go give it to Cara Dune.
Well, and that's what he does.
Like,
though, right?
yeah, like I immediately thought
he-
when they said we need your help,
Yeah.
we need to fight off fucking Ravagers or
Yeah.
whatever, Raiders.
Yeah.
He's already thinking in his head, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go get Cara Dune to fight with me.
Yeah, so I don't know about that because he does a that means that whole thing's like kind of theatrical.
It is
when he says
well,
no.
it could be though.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
But like, why? What's the purpose of it, right?
some people
Yeah.
create scenes that way.
So
though,
like
right?
my
I don't
point
know.
my point was actually like that motivation was right there. If you're gonna do an episode that you're gonna bring some humanity in him, this was your first shot right there because it's like oh, I can't take the money because I have to leave this planet. I also, you guys also don't have enough. And then they could have said something like, "Oh man, but they keep raiding us and they're gonna
Like
they're
the
gonna kill us
children
all
or
soon."
something.
And then that's your shot right there. That's your entry point. So I thought that was wasted.
Unless you use that as an excuse to some, but that's like stretching, and then you'd have to like come to
And
that
because he didn't
conclusion.
care
Yeah.
initially, right? And so he like, and this whole, and that would have bridged the gap between stoic Mando and human Mando, which was just bridged without that step, which was weird because he's like, "I'm just gonna be a philanthropist. I have never shown any signs of this except for saving Yoda," which was also a little bit unearned in my opinion. And then
Chris is going off.
no, I mean, I'm not like this is a shallow show. I like my standards are lower than other shows, but
Yeah.
so he goes to get Cara Dune, and then they go to the village, and I love that moment where he like sneaks up on her, and she like pulls out a gun.
Yeah.
It's like you can tell that these two are fucking dope together
Yeah.
already. Yeah, so they go to the village, and he meets the widow
O'Mara.
Omera.
And there's some looks, as much looks as Mandalorian could give.
Yeah,
But yeah, they go to this village, and what they really find out is that the villagers didn't tell them like the whole truth. So they're like the Klatooinian, whatever, how you say, raiders and stuff.
Mhm.
But when they go to scout, I don't.
Oh
know
no,
if I'm
wait,
jumping
there's
ahead.
something before that.
Yeah.
So they go to the village, and they get this like moment of respite. And he talks to her, like he meets the little girl and meets Omera, and they have a moment where like they're like he gets
Where
okay, yeah. So
the village, they freak
I
out.
remember my point now. So he gets it. Sorry. He gets this like moment of respite, and then she like brings him like blankets, and like the little girl comes in, and they all freak out about Baby Yoda, and then he starts like this is where he starts talking very very like softly, like a hero, and it just felt like a 180 to me.
Maybe
Like he
it's 'cause
talked
he's
like a
in front
hero
of a
a lot.
woman, though. This is the thing. Sometimes men change when they're in front of ladies they like. I don't know if that's like the case there, but
Oh yeah, I mean, you may have a point there, sure, but like I don't know. For me, it still felt like it was too fast.
Mandalorians need to get laid too, man.
yeah, with that, but he has to keep the helmet on. That's awkward. But anyway,
Unless she's into it.
that's true. But the thing
I
is,
like her a lot, by the way, Omera.
I liked her a
She's
lot
cool.
too. And I guess one thing we didn't mention is like how the town freaked out over Yoda. It was like our freak out over Yoda. They're like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And I like how the
Yeah.
kids, like he became
Yeah, the
like,
town was the internet. That's basically what it was.
and
the
I love
town
how
was
the
internet.
kids like were all like, "Oh, let's play with this kid," and they're like Yoda.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I was like, "Damn, you're really milking it, and it's working."
yeah.
Um,
So they go to scout. So I think, I mean, I'll take a break there and kind of like say, I just have a question for like the makers of this show. Why half an hour? I think this is the biggest problem with this show.
Well, this one was 41 minutes. This is the longest one out of all of them.
But even then, like it was way too short. I think. Like I don't know why they chose half an hour format, because like these episodes, like a lot of it could have used the time, right?
yeah.
You know what I mean?
the-
Like especially
the
Go.
biggest time skip for me was the time when they're like training everyone.
Yeah,
up.
we'll get to it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the biggest one.
Actually,
for
yeah,
me.
since you brought it up, like that, like that needed time. Like it was very like derivative and obligatory in a way, because it was like the writers kind of just felt like, oh, so we're gonna do a training montage. We're just gonna show them enough so that they get it, right? And not put any feeling into it. Just the same thing with like the rancher and like mastering the Blorg. It's just like, oh yeah, we're doing a mastering the the horse scene, and we're just gonna show you just enough so you understand what the scene is, and not put any weight in behind it at all.
Yeah, the series is very derivative of old westerns, spaghetti westerns, and old hero stories.
But I think
right?
I think that's enough though. I think that's enough to be a good show. But what I don't think is I think it's suffering from it's just like there's no feeling in any scene in most scenes.
Well, I like the way I see it is like this. Okay, it's and I said this on the last episode. This is a buffet for fucking fans. Like it's just a Star Wars fan service buffet, right? We're getting to see all these cool things that we wanted to see for so long, that we were supposed to see in the sequel trilogy that we haven't seen, right? And we're getting to see these things. So, we're getting fed what we want. So everybody's happy with it, right?
Yeah.
If they're going to do a second season of this show, they better start thinking about depth because if they don't get any depth by the time we hit like episode 8, there's gonna be a huge problem without a doubt.
It is very surface level as of now, and I thought episode 4 was where it was going to really take off, because I was like, okay, we kind of established what this is. It's like him and this child, and he's traveling, and we went to this village instead, and I think this village and the title of the show is like Sanctuary. It was I think maybe what they were trying to show in this episode was how committed he is to his way of life, in a sense.
Yeah.
Where like even though he has this place that could be a sanctuary, and there's reasons why he leaves and whatnot, but we'll probably like get into that more near the end of this.
Yeah, and this whole like this whole idea about the Mandalorian not removing his helmet is a giant hole in Star Wars canon.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
Star Wars Rebels, Sabine Wren spent more time with her helmet off than fucking on.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, it doesn't make any sense, right? Like, Fen Rao didn't wear his helmet. Pre Vizsla didn't wear his helmet. I'm just worried about,
like, you're not getting, like, the vitamin D you need to your face.
Also, like so you can't eat? You just can't eat in front of people?
Yeah, he can't eat in front of people.
That's all I keep thinking about.
Because Amira asked him, like, when's the last time you took your mask off? And he's like, yesterday. And I was like, okay, so he does take it off, like, regularly in a sense when he's doing his own thing.
But it's in private.
Yeah. But anyway, so in terms of, like, what's happening in the show, so we get,
so they
Cara
do the scouting
Dune,
scene.
and they do that scene, and they realize, like, oh, they have, like, a freaking Imperial, like, walker
They have
here.
an AT-ST.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got really excited right away. And
I got excited about that.
Yeah, and then they come back, and then they're like, and then they say like, "Yo, you guys gotta fucking get out of here! Like, we can't fight these two."
Yeah, they're like, "You have to give up your village." They're like, "We have to get you out of here. Sorry."
Yeah.
Peace the fuck out.
Mariah's like, "Nope, not leaving." And I can kind of understand, like, if that's where your ancestors were, like, you were here first, and it feels like you're like giving up, and it's like, why do I have to leave like this land?
Yeah, and then Pillboy's like, "We planted the seeds," and I'm just like, Pillboy.
I didn't realize it was him, but like now I'm like, oh, I see it, because I was like, I know him from somewhere. So, and then you see like Cara Dune's like, this is not gonna work, and Mando's like, we got to do something, and so then starts like the whole Mulan training montage. I like to call it,
which I thought was like unearned derivative short, and I just thought it was a blaring mistake. They could have made it longer.
I didn't hate it. I did think it was really quick. It was obviously really quick, and that was.
They literally did, because in training montage, it's like you fail a lot, and then something big happens, a turning point, and then you succeed a lot. They literally had a back-to-back shot of them failing and then succeeding at the spear thrust. It was literally back to back. I'm like, that's not how you do it, guys. I'm sorry.
No, man. All you need is like 2-3 days, and you're good to go.
Yeah, facing like battle-hardened raiders. Ugh. So anyway, so they do this whole Seven Samurai, like, we're gonna booby trap the place. We're gonna dig a hole. We're gonna have one plan with no backup plan. We're gonna dig a hole in this pond, and they're gonna step in it. It's gonna be perfect. Yeah. It's gonna be amazing.
And in the meanwhile, we kind of see like Baby Yoda really like enjoying his life here. He has like these kids who are like probably like mentally like the same age as him in terms of that, and like the townspeople love him, and even like Mando himself, like in this house, like with Omera, like I really love her character. She seems very like strong, like strong and maternal. And I love
and
those
also
type of
she can shoot, and they never explain why.
I know, why can't she?
Yeah, it's fine. Like it's a detail that I'm like, okay, cool. She probably has a dark past. It'd be cool for them to dive into it, but
I don't know if we'll see them.
I can't ask them for that because Mando hasn't even been delved into. So she can shoot. That's
But he
pretty
does
cool.
take off his mask when he's like watching the kids. I'm like, damn, like the window's open, like they can
Yeah.
see
Yeah,
you.
that's exactly what I said. I was like,
Yeah.
dude, come on. Like,
Yeah.
you're talking about not being able people to be able to see your face.
Yeah.
You're
Also, what-
standing in a fucking window.
Yeah.
And with
like-
a face like that too, you know.
That's
Pedro
what I keep
Pascal.
saying. Like Pedro's so cool. We
He's
should be
such a
able to see
good-looking
him.
guy. He's great.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you have a crush on Pedro?
I don't know. I don't have like a crush on him, but he's a good-looking guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know, you
Yeah.
can't. I mean, I think that's accepted, right?
Oh, I mean, I'm sure somebody out there has a list of your crushes
Oh.
on this show, so I think I just wanted to give them that.
You know
that-
what's funny? There was like a funny meme on the internet, which was like this person posted like, oh, like Mando coming after me to get his bounty, and it's like this person running on the beach being like, oh, like whatever, and then Pedro Pascal retweeted it, I'm gonna get you, and the girl was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die. Like, this
That's
is it.
amazing.
But it's really funny.
Yeah.
But
And then they had a connection scene. Omera and Mando. They had this like really like touching connection scene, which I thought obviously was too fast. This is just like kind of my tagline for this show. It's like too fast. Good stuff, but too fast. So anyways, so they sneak into the thing, into the bandit camp, and all I kept thinking was like, I think they can just kill everybody with their sneaking scene because they're so good. They just like waltz
Didn't we
in there.
skip over the tracking scene when they found the footprints for the
Oh, we talked about
ATST?
that. We talked about that already.
But that part, like the tracking.
no, we didn't do the footprints. I just said
Yeah.
like they found it.
Yeah. Okay.
We're all kind
So they did the pre-final fight scene, stealth mode mission, which is like also a staple in these things. And they sneak in there, and then, dude, did we ever find out why they were going after them, the villagers?
I think they just wanted like
They
their
wanted the
stuff.
krill.
Yeah,
they wanted
the
their
krill.
harvest.
Okay.
Like they just
Yeah.
didn't want to do any of the work of
Yeah.
themselves and be like, oh, we could just like raid this village and like steal
Yep.
stuff, which is like the common thing with raiders.
Mm-hmm.
They just want a raid. That's
Yep.
it. There's not really any other motive
Yep.
behind it. But it fits the dialogue there.
So they head back to town, and then they pissed off the raiders, and their plan consists of making a front line and letting them run into their front line while they have spears. It's very like Endor, very Endor right there, with the freaking wooden.
Also, like
The
digging
wooden
the
spears.
hole. Like
Yeah.
they're digging the hole inside that
Yeah.
little like pond
So,
area. Their
yeah.
whole plan is contingent on him
Stepping
on that thing
Yeah,
or into that.
yeah, and then they run in there. So what was your first thought when you saw an ATST?
I was like, why does it have red eyes?
I like that head wrap. It looks so creepy.
I was like, what the
Yeah.
fuck happened? I was
Yeah.
like, did they steal it? And like,
Yeah.
kind of like, did they find it somewhere and like retrofit it to like,
100%, I think
like,
so.
I don't know. Like, obviously it's not an Empire.
Somebody was probably well, it was
ATST.
former for sure.
Yeah, it's a former Empire ATST, but
Yeah.
it's not being driven by the Empire. Like, they're
Yeah.
not in allegiance with
Oh,
these
no. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Clantunians, right?
Yeah.
So,
I-
yeah.
I thought it was very promising how like the tech in this world is just like it just throws for a loop everything we knew about like who has what tech, and now it's just like I love it. I love that whole thing.
It
It's like
looked
what
so
else can
creepy.
people have, right? So they have that ATST, and then the final battle starts, and surprise, surprise, the ATST doesn't step into the pond because why would you?
Yeah, why would you in general like step into a pond if you didn't have to? You know, usually you like jump over, you wear some rain boots.
Well, I think they were counting on the fact that the line of sight, they may not be able to see it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's dark, and you're up that high, you're not really going to be able, like, unless you stick your head out the port and look down,
Yeah.
like, you may not be able to see
And they
it
were,
too,
like,
No, but
right?
he does
directing
stop.
No, I
he's-
know he does
oh,
stop, but like I really think that was random. I just think it was bad timing.
Mm.
And they were like directing them through that kind of line of sight. They were trying to get him to follow like a certain path in
Mm-hmm.
because it was kind of all contingent on that. Did anyone in that village die from that battle?
I don't know,
Probably.
I don't think anyone
I'm
did,
not
which
sure.
I'm happy about. But I'm like, how likely is
Yeah.
that?
but the Clantunians died. I saw a couple of them get
Yeah.
stabbed.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like if you have an ATSD, I would just do exactly what that ATSD did. Was stop at the edge of the village and shoot the shit out of you. It has ranged weapons. You know what I mean? Like that plan was just like a little bit weird to me.
What Cara Dune will actually have to end up going. So what she ends up doing is kind of like going past the front lines and hiding in the adjacent pond over.
Yeah, and pissing it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
essentially-
grabs Mando's plasma rifle.
Pulse rifle.
Yeah.
He gives it to her too. I feel like there's like
With
this level
no
of trust.
ammo. She goes in there with one shot and then reloads somehow. Anyways, small details.
You know what? It's fine. She did it.
It's just like a thing that I always see in like action movies where it's just like you gotta reload your gun. That was 31 shots. You gotta reload your gun.
No, man, it's endless.
Yeah.
And so he ends up falling in, and then that's kind of it. Like, you know what I mean? From there, like the battle.
Mando like blows it up, and then Pillboy has the courage to like kill someone.
Yeah, good for you, buddy.
You're a murderer.
Good for you.
So the battle's over. It's short-lived, but it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool anyways.
I did like it. Like, I know, like, you guys...
I like the stealth
I personally
mission
really
better.
like this episode a lot. And
Yeah.
maybe it's more for the lightheartedness, because you're right. It's not diving into deep, like, social issues. It's not really anything about that. It's basically this one dude, his way of life, and protecting this child. And it's kind of all that. But I don't mind the shortness of them. I do like, they feel kind of concise in that way. I guess we're so used to like long form stuff too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if I want to watch an episode of something, I'm like, damn, I'm watching like 50 minutes. And
But don't you think like if it was a little bit longer, like it would have depth?
I think
Because
so.
each scene that I have problems with, it's just because it wasn't done enough.
So the reason that I think it might make sense for it to be short is because of the nature, and you did mention Mando's character is changing, but the nature of his character, because he's not someone of many words, so maybe they might have issues like filling in things in that sense, because it's not like he has like a lot of dialogue. Like I would say the script for this show, at least for the first few episodes, is like not a lot of pages at all.
Yeah.
Whereas like...
Okay, so here's my thing with that. It's just like, you're probably right, like you wouldn't have enough. I mean, I would argue that it's the opposite way. Like because he doesn't talk as much, you have to convey things in a harder way than somebody just talking, right? Because like you have to convey emotions in body language form, and you have to it would pay off if they had more time. And also like I could just mention scenes that were just like you're saying, like they're having a tough time filling the time slot. That like there's already scenes where I said like was too short, like for example the learning how to ride the Blorg scene, and maybe they could have combined episode 1 and 2 together, because I felt like that could have been one episode.
That definitely could have been one.
And then this episode could have been one episode, an hour-long episode easily. There was a lot of things that they could have done, like if they wanted to play up the whole Seven Samurai thing. So but anyways, so the battle's done, and then him and Kara are actually him and Omera were first talking.
Well, they were having a chat. Essentially, what they want to happen. Well, what he's saying is like the child is happy here. Like I'm gonna leave him here, and she's like, you can stay with us. Like you don't have to do this. And she asks him about the mask. And I mean, we talked a little bit about that before.
Yeah, she says you can put away the armor and the mask and save it for another day.
And we get a big reveal apparently on the Mando culture, where if he takes off the mask and shows his face, he can never put it back on.
Again, another canon plot hole in Star Wars.
Well, yeah, for sure.
But I do like this thing because you see, like, it's funny because he's wearing the mask, but you still feel the struggle. Like the way he kind of changes his voice, or the way he kind of like looks down a bit. Like, you know, there's a part of him that really wants that. Like he wants to. And like this place does symbolize so much of a sanctuary. But, you know, in the end, Amara's like, I will protect your son. I like how she's like, says that, like, I'll protect your child or whatever. Like,
she keeps saying your son.
Yeah.
I really want to know. Sorry, guys, just want to jump in. I really want to know how much time Pedro Pascal has actually spent in that costume, because at the end of the day, I don't know, like this whole Mando mask thing. Yeah, this could just be an easy way to fucking work around Pedro's schedule.
Absolutely.
To pay him less. Yeah. To not make such a large investment in the show. Yeah. Because honestly, like, Star Wars canon, Mandalorians take off their fucking helmets all the fucking time. I hate that
so much, for sure.
All the time, right? Yeah. And now they're creating this other thing where, like, if he takes off his mask, he's not allowed to put it back on. Like, doesn't make any sense.
I think it canon-wise it doesn't, but I don't think it's a Pedro Pascal thing. I think it's probably like a script thing.
Well, I'm saying production-wise, I'm saying all they would need to get him is get him into the booth for ADR, right?
That is true.
To record the audio, they could put a fucking stuntman in that suit.
Most of his stuntman work anyway, right?
A lot of stuntman work, right?
Yeah,
so
there's no proof.
I don't know what it is.
It is.
No, there's
weird.
no proof. Yeah. But if you really wanted to, you could make a case that this is why we're not getting, Pedro out of the helmet. Or I guess there's a story reason too. They want him to maintain the mystique or whatever
That's my point.
up until the end. But like,
the mystique
seriously,
is gone
dude.
already in this episode, right?
Well-
the mystique was back when he was like this dude that didn't talk, and you're like didn't know what his deal was, and then now it's like I mean, it's not gone for sure. Like he still has a lot of mystique to him.
Right.
But it's like I've said this before in the first episode of this that I was there. Like he could scarcely take it off, and it would perform the same function.
Yeah.
And none of us and we could connect to him a lot more in these like emotional scenes.
Yeah.
For sure, right?
Yeah.
And it's like like it's so weird, man.
And it's weird too because like this is only a 30-minute show, right? And it's first season. Clone Wars is 6 fucking seasons long.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much Mandalorian culture and combined between Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah.
There's so much,
Yeah.
right? And then this
Yeah.
And it's interesting because Filoni worked on this as well.
Yeah.
and Rebels.
Yeah.
And Rebels. So
And
he
Clone
like
Wars.
so you could maybe say maybe John Favreau didn't look or whatever else. You could say that.
Yeah.
But Filoni like created that.
Yeah.
So
That's weird.
in terms of that, like
Yeah.
he would know.
Like in Rebels, we literally get a clan on clan fight
Yeah.
between the Mandalorians,
Yeah.
right? And we meet Sabine's family
Yeah.
and the Darksaber. Sabine takes the Darksaber in an attempt to she's training with it, but she ends up not wanting to rule the Mandalorians.
Right.
So she passes it on, right? But it just doesn't make any sense, dude.
Yeah.
Like the more and more this shit happened, I'm just like, what? Like
No, and like even if they really wanted to keep his helmet on, there's an easy fix. He doesn't take off the helmet. Why does it have to be the entire culture? It's so weird. Yeah, it's definitely weird.
Like I'd feel better if he was like scarred or some shit. It's just like I'm
Yeah.
an ugly dude. I'm not removing my helmet. Sorry.
That could be it. You never know. I doubt it though.
I doubt it though.
I think let's hope by the end of the season. he
I wonder if
removes
it's like
his
a
helmet.
new thing was just like implemented. It's like, oh, we've got a new rule.
No, like
I know.
Christina said that.
They
Like,
would they would retroactively have to fit.
Yeah,
fix
exactly.
10 seasons of television.
and 20,000 years of history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's go back to this scene.
Yeah.
Actually, we missed the scene, but it's fine because it connects to Omera and like they're kind of like their kind of connection. We get a reveal on his actual backstory,
Mm-hmm.
and so like he reveals this really fast to her. But we can assume that they've been together. They've been like whatever for a while now. But like he's not Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So he says.
Yeah, I knew that, yeah.
Yeah. So he says the Mandalorians rescued him, and he is just part of them now because he gets rescued, and then he goes, "This is the way," and it's like you can tell that he's completely indoctrinated by their religion, and he like divulges this to her while she's like trying to get him to stay, and they have this like touching moment, and then she almost takes off his helmet.
That's done outside when they're outside.
Yeah, when they're outside. Yeah.
Yeah, where she like kind of like reaches for it. It's like you could do this, and there's a part of him that I think like really wants to, and even Cara Dune mentions this at one point. It's like there's like a widow there, like you have a
Yeah.
beautiful widow waiting for
Yeah.
you. There's like a family, like you could have this, and he's like, I can't, like this is not who I am, but I will leave like the child here. So she goes to take it off, and he kind of steps back. I was like, no, Mando. Don't say no to love. But little does he know he can't really keep Baby Yoda here.
We'll get to that. So I mean, we'll get to that right now.
Yeah.
But so apparently there's an assassin now. But before that, he talks to Cara Dune, and this is where I thought like the writing was really weak, because he talks to Cara Dune and tells her, like what we did here, it's gonna echo across the universe or across the galaxy.
Word travels fast.
World travels fast, and maybe you need to cycle your systems now and move on because your sanctuary is gone. And then he goes, but it's safe enough for me to leave the baby, the most wanted goddamn thing in the
Yeah, I
universe.
know.
Like that was so
Doesn't
weird to
make
me.
any
You
sense.
just finished telling her, like it was a
Also
plot
with like
hole.
the whole fob, like there's fobs out there that are
Yeah.
after him.
What made you think that this planet was safe in the first place, right? Like you found it, right? And people people have fops on this kids, right? So he like thinks it's safe somehow for the baby, and she almost gets the kid almost gets sniped, and then Kara with her instincts fucking shoots him in the back like a gangster, and then he resigns that it's not a safe place for Baby Yoda anymore. So he decides that he needs to move on.
That goodbye, oh my gosh, the goodbye of Baby Yoda. Because like at one point, like Amara did mention like, oh, if you like, he'll be devastated like when you leave him. But then there was also like that devastation of him like leaving his
The
friends,
kids, yeah.
and they were like hugging him, and
Yeah.
it's like, what are you doing
Yeah,
to
that
my
was
heart?
tough.
My
That
heart
was
is
tough.
like
That little girl's so
breaking.
cute too.
I know.
Yeah, she's like the best.
It's like, I'm gonna
She
miss
showed a
you.
lot of
And I
heart, yeah.
wanted like Omera to like, I don't know, like kiss his helmet, like I don't know, like something.
Yeah.
But that would also be weird.
Yeah.
But just this goodbye, and you know, we don't know much. Like, we call him Baby Yoda, like he's not Yoda, but we don't
Yeah.
really have a name for him. And it's another
Yeah, they
thing
need
that
to
we
give him a fucking name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a species. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
And
Species
I
name.
don't know how much we'll find out about that in the
That
next
species is the
episodes.
most protected species in Star Wars universe. They don't talk about it. They don't fucking provide any background.
Probably maybe they're scared to too.
I don't
Like
know,
they don't want to
man.
mess it
Yeah.
up.
I don't know.
It's gonna be another midichlorian situation.
Cause like there was Yaddle too. Yaddle was in Phantom Menace and Clone Wars, not Clone Wars, Attack of the Clones, and the other one.
It is strange for how like pivotal like Yoda is in the series. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like it is strange that
Yeah.
there's really not a lot of information about his people.
There isn't.
But yeah, that ending scene is very it's very sad.
And
And
she moves on as well, right?
Pulls at the heartstrings.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Cara Dune is like, he's like, you can kind of come with, and she's like, no, like I'm gonna go off my own way. I feel like they'll run into each other again,
Yeah.
even though space is infinite. So it'd be really hard to, but they will because of
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, when our what do they say? When our paths cross.
And so it's like, oh, they're gonna cross for
Yeah,
sure.
they're gonna
Anytime
cross.
you say that in a show, it's going to happen.
Yeah, I want Cara Dune to come back for sure. I like her a lot.
Yeah.
She was cool.
I think like she was like a character that like feels like is equal, and I like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like he kind of recognizes that right away.
Yeah, in
her.
a different way. Like she's just a soldier.
She was marketed as
She's a gangster soldier.
as a compatriot, as a partner, like in the posters and all the marketing material.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the
So
poster.
she's
Yeah.
definitely gonna be back.
Yeah, I hope
Yeah.
so. Yeah, like he calls her and stuff. Yeah, so I mean, I hope he now knows that like fops are our thing, right? Like they're
I'm surprised he didn't, but
yeah, it's such a weird thing for me. Yeah, like man, if the guy just waited, like I don't know, half a day, and then shot Baby Yoda,
I know.
it would have been
after they
clear.
were left, yeah.
I really wanted the villagers to turn out to be the bad guys.
Yeah, that would have been dope.
That's what I wanted. I wanted them to be like, you know, them have some dark hidden secret. Because like literally this story, I can do beat for beat in my own head. Like it happens all the fucking
Yeah.
It is.
time.
It is a really common
Yeah.
trope for
Like
sure.
let's go and train some villagers to make sure that they can fight off the people that are raiding their
And
villages.
again, like when Clone Wars did it, it was a trope back then too.
It's a
But they
total
did
trope.
it right, and it was
Yeah.
still good, right? Like just redoing a trope doesn't make it like inherently bad.
Yeah.
But like doing it bad makes it bad,
Yeah.
right? You know what I mean? Like doing it derivatively because it's a thing to do in westerns apparently.
Thank God for the cinematography and the effects. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I gotta say, like the shot of the ATST, we glossed over this. Like the wide shot, the establishing shot of the ATST and the village was a beautiful shot.
That was
I
a
can
great
make that
shot.
my
Yeah.
background
Bryce
picture.
Dallas
Yeah,
Howard
yeah.
directed this episode.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
And the first father-daughter duo to direct like Star Wars things
Yep.
because her dad picked up.
Yep.
or
Oh,
not
that's
picked
cool.
up, yeah.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool.
Also, the other thing is like they did train the villagers, but those raiders are gonna come back, right? Like they didn't kill off the raiders.
Nope.
They're coming back. So
No, they'll come
Maybe they're
back at some
scared
point.
now. I don't know.
yeah,
There definitely are like plot holes, whatever.
yeah.
But this show, like you kind of mentioned before, it's not something that's really diving
Yeah,
in
yeah, for
deep,
sure.
deep. And from what
I'm
I
still
like,
gonna call it.
yeah. But from what like when I watched it, I like liked it. I was like, this is like, you know what I mean? Like, and maybe it is that like burst of nostalgia of watching
Do you think
something.
though? Do you think you're gonna get to a point though where you're just like,
I want
fuck,
story.
dude? Like,
I
come
want more
on.
deeper story. In the end of the day, like you need story. You
Yeah.
need a,
You need story, absolutely. Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like, what's next? Like finding Vader's mask somewhere? Like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
like they're gonna, you know, I feel like the dependency to kind of find things that will resonate with people who are looking for that nostalgic kind of taste are just littered in this show, and they're not really moving for any depth or anything. And it makes me sad because there's such a good creative team around this show. Taika Waititi, like that guy's creative as fuck, you know, and he's a he's directed episodes. Like, why not why not get them to provide input, right?
Yeah.
Like how do you not walk into a project like this and be like, dude, I've seen this happen in a Western like 80 times.
Yeah.
I've seen this happen in the Clone Wars. Like, let's do something different, you know?
Yeah. To be fair, like I have problems with its depth of story and character, but I do like their world building, right? Except for that one hiccup with the Mandalorian, like
Yeah, but did they build the world? That's the thing too, right?
they've expanded the world definitely.
They've expanded it a little bit, but most of the world was already established.
Oh,
right?
100%.
Yeah.
No, but if you're talking about like what this show does that's like different from the rest of Star Wars, because obviously it's taken from the same universe, it's gone into things we've never gone into, right? The Guild of Bounty Hunters itself, like this is what I'm most excited about. This is probably why I'm disappointed about Chapter 4. Not that I didn't like it, I liked it for sure. It's because like we're leaving, like it kind of signifies that we're leaving this like bounty hunter guild, like which I think they could have expanded on a lot more, and they have expanded on it, and it's like this promising thing that they're doing. It's like they are doing a lot of changes. It's just some changes we don't like for sure, right?
Yeah.
And even the Mandalorian culture, besides that one thing that we both agree on that we don't like, like we've never seen them actually like show that this is the first time I felt them like reference this as a religion,
right?
In a really good way. Right, it's very like strict and stuff. I like it a lot,
right.
But besides that one hiccup, for sure. I think the depth comes in world building, and I agree it's not enough. It's not enough, but I just don't want people to think that there is no like changes at all. It's not just a nostalgia machine, right? It's yeah.
I hope
that's my point.
I hope Baby Yoda pays off as a MacGuffin. Like, there's got to be something grander than what we know. And if it does, and they don't give us something grander than what we know, if they don't add to the mythology or the canon,
they should.
I don't see this show fucking lasting. I
think you're feeling this right now because this show was this episode was kind of a throwaway episode in a way that's like.
Well, I enjoyed it. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it. Yeah.
I never said it was bad. I'm just saying a throwaway episode as if like it didn't progress his plot at all. Right. It's like but just think about 1, 2, and 3. That was all plot, right? Like as shallow as it was, just hope for 1, 2, and 3, like episode 1, 2, and 3, that level of plot progression. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Anyways,
I gotcha.
We'll see what this show has in store.
Yeah. Yeah. So overall, heard both your sorry, can I count that again? 3, 2. So overall, I see it was a mixed bag of reviews for this episode here. I think we'll see how episode 5 goes. Whether I feel like it'll probably be more story based because the whole thing, okay, people are after him and the flops. I expected that to come into play a lot sooner than it did. That was going to be like right away that people would be following him, but we'll kind of see how that goes and plays out.
Show us more cool shit.
Yeah, definitely more cool shit. More stuff about the rebels, more stuff about the Empire and what's left of it. That'd be really cool to see because there's definitely a lot of people out there who are going to be like Empire sympathizers.
Deeper dive. I want a deeper dive. Give me something.
You're probably not gonna get it.
Give me something with some depth, bro. Honestly.
You're probably not gonna get it.
Well, I hope I do.
This is an all-you-can-eat buffet.
It is.
Just have it. Just have it and have your high-class restaurant later.
It is. And Rise of the Skywalker, December 19th, folks. Get prepared for that shit.
Yeah.
Woo!
So yeah, we're gonna call it for this episode. This is Chris.
This is Saba.
And Frank.
Later, dudes.
Peace.